I wanted to give a little bit more historical context. By the way, there are other commissioners here. Diane Ledingham and Chris Richardson is somewhere in the crowd, and I haven't, there perhaps are one or two others I haven't seen. But I can assure you I've talked to a number of former commissioners in the last few days, and they are all absolutely dismayed. Everybody's in shock at what's going on right now with the city council and the park board. I think this just goes against the grain of everything we know in Vancouver with regard to our civic government. I wanted to give you a little bit of historical context beyond what Alan Featherstone talked about. I was on the park board, and May Brown was chair of the planning and I was chair of planning and development. She was chair of the recreation committee of the park board at that time. She was also a professor in recreation, something or other, I can't remember the exact title, at UBC. She knows a lot about recreation, knows a lot about kids. The whole idea was, we had at that time a patchwork of agreements. As Alan said, a lot of communities got together, and Hastings was an early good example, where they pooled a few dollars and said, okay, we're going to have a tennis court. And it sort of grew from there. And the park board, they came to the park board and said, can we put a tennis court on one of your parks? And the park board said, sure. You pay for it, you put it there, and you can look after it. And they did. And that's how it all started. And so, that was a long, long time ago. But by the 70s, when I was on the board, we had quite a number of community centers around the city, and they were all different. And they all were more neighborhood-based. A lot of them had been built and paid for. In fact, all of them, up until that time, had been built and paid for by the individual communities. As Alan said, the first one that wasn't was the West End. The second one was, what is it over at... Creekside? No, Grandview. It's got out of my head. Trout Lake. No, not Trout Lake. Grandview Woodlands. Yeah, that's it, yeah. Anyway, so, Britannia. And anyway, we thought we needed to standardize the agreement between the centers, but at the same time to maintain their individual independence. And so May worked very hard for several years, and they developed a template. But it was only a template. And each center then had an agreement using that template, but adapted to their particular concerns and needs and priorities, and also the physical plant of the community center itself. So this one-size-fits-all thing is completely misguided. It's unnecessary. In fact, it's going to be incredibly counterproductive. I think what we, in fact, need to do is encourage, not discourage, more community participation and encourage the community to take control of their own neighborhoods and their own activities and do it in their own way, in their own priorities, with the help of park board staff, certainly. But the one-size-fits-all thing is just a complete non-starter. So there's a little bit of historical context there. Those agreements have worked quite well in the ensuing 40 years. I think that with some minor tweaking, and I think it's time to consider universal access and some of those minor issues that are on the table. They're long overdue. But to take the programming and the financial capability away from the associations is a fundamental mistake. Thank you.